Construction News Tracker is presented by Caterpillar and its newest trial, that of Hot Wheels 11, and produced by 4constructionpros.com. Some confusing news as we enter the month of November regarding construction. September construction starts. The Commerce Department is reporting that housing starts fell 1.6% as building permits tumbled, dropping to a one-year low. And it's all due to reduced supply of raw materials and workforce labor. Commerce says housing completions hit a 13-month low in September. Meanwhile, Dodge Data is reporting that total construction starts rose 10% for September to $889 billion as all three building sectors improved. Non-residential rose 15%, residential up 9%, and non-building increased by 6%. Dodge Data Chief Economist Richard Branch says the report indicates that despite shortages of materials and labor, contractors are ready to move forward on planned projects. AASHTO has taken a survey of state DOTs, which details the potential of short-term federal funding extensions on their programs, and it's not good. Many say they commit a quarter of their annual fiscal outlay in the first month so contractors can begin working on much-needed road projects, and short-term extensions only provide 1/12 of the total outlay, so that creates a real bind in funding. All state DOTs weighed in on the survey to make their feelings known and AASHTO can transmit the information to lawmakers in hopes of improving the situation. Construction Review says that contractors are feeling the heat when it comes to meeting last year's bids on projects. The escalating materials and labor costs has perplexed the industry, and those companies locked into contracts based on last year's prices are finding themselves in a bind. AGC claims contractors are rightly concerned over the escalating raw materials prices and what seems to be a never-ending problem with finding qualified labor. While ABC Chief Economist Anirban Basal says the situation is likely to last well into 2022, while some contractors say they are unable to locate new equipment at any cost. The U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee has voted to increase highway spending funds for fiscal year 2022. As a result of the vote, the U.S. Department of Transportation would receive $90.5 billion in funding, about $3.8 billion more than fiscal year 2021. It's one of 9 bills voted on by the important committee mid-October. In addition, the so-called THUD bill, which covers transportation, housing, and development, would provide over $66 billion in additional funding of infrastructure investment, all part of the Jobs Act awaiting House approval. Following a revenue adjustment this year, Caterpillar now says it may have to raise prices on equipment across the board to curtail inflation. CFO Andrew Bonfield says it's the first quarter where supply chain challenges have affected CAT significantly. Global supply chain disruptions were triggered by the pandemic, and the price increase is a result of that hit. Bonfield said the company expects sales to improve and further economic challenges can be dealt with. Work has gotten underway on a major levee project along the Kansas and Missouri rivers near Kansas City. Called the KN Levees program, officials hope to control 17 miles of shoreline from flooding. 7,000 structures exist on the land, covering some $32 million in investment. The area has been the subject of past flood events that created major destruction. The Army Corps of Engineers is raising the levee some 200% along the Kansas River, which calls for the removal of 1.3 million cubic yards of dirt and some 200 utility connections relocated. It's hoped that work can be completed by 2026. If you've been following us, you'll know that CAT has developed some ingenious equipment trials based on games we played as kids. And now it's time for another one, Hot Wheels 11. Maybe it was time in the sandbox or creating the most imaginable track setups, but how cool in real life. CAT Hot Wheels 11 creates an epic playground with next-gen wheel loaders and other CAT gear incorporating life-size versions of the Hot Wheel cars we all grew up with. Professional stunt drivers, track designers, and equipment operators were brought in to help recreate the drama. Gather the kids for a fun trip because here it is, CAT, Hot Wheels 11. In closing, a lot of people have great ideas, but nothing in the world is cheaper than a good idea with no action. This is Construction News Tracker, looking over the industry that makes the world a better place, presented by Caterpillar and produced by 4constructionpros.com. Follow us on social media at Twitter using hashtag Construction News, YouTube at 4constructionpros, and on Meta at /4constructionpros, as the streaming web never ends.
Construction News Tracker is presented by Caterpillar and produced by 4constructionpros.com.